Just going to do a quick recap on setting up a page using CSS. You'll see here that I've designed my page, so I know I've got a banner here at the top that's 960 by 200, I've got a nav bar, and I know my pixel size is from the sidebar, and my main window. So I've basically got 4 boxes I need to put in here. That's my design. I could have that sketched out on the back of an envelope. Okay, just note that 250 and 710 adds up to 960. So we're 960 all the way across. So I've got it planned out. So I'm going to come into Dreamweaver. I've got my site defined. I've got everything over here. I'm not going to need that for the time being, but it is there. So I'm going to go File, New, Blank Page, HTML, None. So the top options all the way, Create, and that will give you a blank page. I've reduced the screen size so you can see what I'm doing easier. Yours will carry on the full screen and you'll see a much bigger document than that, but you can hopefully see that's my work area there. Now, instead of putting tables in, or instead of just typing in our web page there, we're going to create a style, okay, that will define the box that the banner will go in. So I'm going to go to CSS styles over here, top right hand corner, and down here there's a option, little icon that lets us create a new style. So I'm just going to click on that, and the new style window appears. Slightly different for this first run through. It gets a little bit easier and a few things less to click on subsequent boxes that we'll be adding. Select a type. What type is it going to be? Because we're only going to use each style once on a page, I'm going to make it an ID tag, okay, an ID style selector. I'm going to give it a name, so just so I know where it is, banner box, and where I'm going to save it, because I'm going to use it in multiple documents on multiple pages on a website, I need to make it an external style sheet file. Click OK. You see I've already got a style sheet that I'm using there, but I'll create a new one called Demo Styles, and I'll just save that. Get a warning up, just ignore it, just as long as it saves to the folder, and then we can define what happens in this rule. So we're setting up a CSS rule and we're saying this is what happens within it, and we can change the type and the background color, etc. But what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the box option, and if you remember from back here when I defined my site, it's 960 pixels wide and my box at the top is 960 by 200. So I shall come back here and make this 960 200 and click OK. Now nothing appears to have happened, and that's because over here, if you look in the styles, there's the sheet that we made, there's the rule that we've made, but we've not actually brought it onto our web page yet. Okay, so it's not actually on the page yet. So to put it in, we just go to Insert, and we'll go to Layout Objects, and we'll put in a div tag or dividing tag. For the time being, just think of these as empty tags. They don't do anything by themselves, but you can add other things to them. You can apply other rules to them. So div tag, and it will say where do you want to insert this div tag, what do you want to put in this div tag, and we're going to leave everything the same apart from the bottom one as an ID. If I click on that, we should see, yes, there's the rule that we set up a few seconds ago. Click OK, and you'll see that it's gone in there. Now obviously my screen, I've got it at high resolution, so let me just zoom out so you can see something closer to what you will have on your screen there. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're just going to click underneath it so the cursor's at the right hand side, and we're going to press return, and we're going to add another one. Okay, so click flashing cursor down here and add a new rule. So we come over here just like before, click on the new rule button down here, ID tag again, and we'll call this nav bar because we're going to put the navigation bar in. You'll see, because we've already set it up, saves you a couple of clicks. It's got demo styles as a sheet there, so we'll just leave that now. Click OK. What do I want now? I want another box. Now I know it's 960 pixels wide, and just do make sure that this says pixels here. Okay, otherwise things can go a bit skew width. I've forgotten the height, so I'll just check back on my design. My design says the height is 35 pixels. So height 35 pixels. Okay, and you can see that over here now we've got our new rule set up. And incidentally, because they're ID rules, notice that they have a hash in front of them, and that just lets you identify them as rules that you can only use once on a page. So we're down here, so insert, layout objects, div tag, come down here, nav bar is in there. Click OK, and there's my navigation bar. So click at the end to get my cursor underneath again, add another one, so this time I'm going to put one in, and we'll call this, make sure it's ID tag, so it's news bar or sidebar. Let's call it sidebar, that'll be easier. Sidebar, sheets already selected, box, and the width, so check back on the planning, so it's 250 wide by 375, so 250, 375, okay, nothing appears, insert, table objects, div tag, the only one that's available to us because we've used the other ones up already, sidebar, okay, and there you can see on the page I've got my sidebar in there, so click at the side, get my cursor at the side. Now this one is different. The final one we're going to put in is slightly different, because you'll notice on all of these they all run down this edge here. They're all lined left, so it's just like putting a box after a box after a box in a word processing document. Okay, so we don't want that for this next one, so it's slightly different. So we're going to have to do a little bit of maths on this. But first of all, we'll just put it in as it stands. So just like before, ID, call this main window, don't change the styles, click OK, box, check the design, 710, 375, pixels, click OK, insert, layout object, div tag, main, because that's the only one that's available to you, click OK, and there it goes at the bottom of the page. So what we actually want to do now is we want to move that up so it's in this area here. So we can try a couple of options. The easiest thing is if you come back to the CSS styles up here and look for where it says main and double click on it, it'll bring us back to all the rules for that box. So what we might do is for the box we could try doing float right, and you'll see it makes it float to the right hand side. I want it to go upwards now. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of maths here. I'm going to come over here to where it says margin, turn off same for all, and what I want to do is I want to have my margin at the top to shunt it upwards. Now if you remember, if we look at these boxes, they're both 375 high, so we're going to work on the fact that as we're looking at this over here, that this distance here is 375 pixels. Okay, so margins, turn off same for all, and because I want it to go up, it's going to be minus, so it's minus 375, apply it, and you can see over there it's laid my page out perfectly just like I wanted it to. So click OK on that, and let me just zoom in as much as I dare so you can see it. And there is the layout for the web page. Okay, and there are the rules that we've set up. If you need to change any of them, you could do so. For instance, for this main text box here, if I wanted to, then double click on that and say, okay, let's change the type of font. So let's make the font size bigger. Click OK, and you can see it's now a bigger font in the box. You can change, if I wanted to, I could click on the navigation bar box over here, say what's its background colour, let's make it green. And so I've got all these, and I can play around with each one of these boxes, and then suppose if I've got a graphic to add in, just like we would before. So if I've got a banner, I can just drag it into the box, give it an alt name, and there it is. And once you've dragged it in, then delete this text, because it just makes it easier if you leave the text. Like so. And you can see that once that's made, you're away. So add your navigation bar, and then if it's your main page that you're going to use again and again, file, save as a template, and then just fill that and give it a name there, and that's it. And then you can use it again and again and again, and that's it. That's the summary of how we use CSS to lay out a page.